right. And welcome back to another episode of Kill the Messenger podcast 05 Cinco. That's right. I have a special guest in the house.
Special guest?
Very
Really?
special. Yes.
Oh, man,
absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Travis Bourassa.
How you doing?
Good, brother.
This is the first time we finally met.
Yes.
We've been working together for like a year now.
I know, which is awesome. You're amazing, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Really quick, I want you to just introduce yourself really quickly and just give us your title for number one, for those out there in the world who don't know as of right now.
My title at Vice.
Advice.
Right now, I'm an assistant editor. And
Okay.
I just started doing that a few months ago. Before that, I was a post-production assistant at night
Nice.
for about a year.
Okay. Grinding.
Grinding away for a year. Yeah.
Grinding.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about how did you come about becoming an assistant editor and a production? Is it production?
Post-production assistant, I
Post-produ-
guess. It's only. I mean, it's the only reason I say post-production assistant is because it's like when you're a production assistant, you're like running around and like doing errands.
Right. That's like kind of.
I just sit in a chair.
Right.
It's which is like the big difference. It's not
Right.
nearly as like creative or interesting. Well, I mean, I think it's interesting, but so okay. How did I get into this?
Well, you went to the University of Maine.
I did. I
Googled-
studied.
I Googled you, bro.
Did you really?
I did.
What, on Facebook or did you
Broadcast?
actually
No, I
went
just
deep?
like actual Google. Yeah.
What did you find? I haven't
I
Googled
found
myself
that
in a
you
while.
went to you studied broadcast journalism.
I did,
at the University of Maine.
I did.
I wanted to kind of talk about that and segue
Okay.
into how you ended up from school studying that.
Yeah.
Is that what you originally wanted to do to now to how did you end up in LA and so on?
Okay, yeah. So you want to start all the way
I want to start
the way
since
back.
birth.
since birth?
Well, let's fast forward from birth to school.
Yeah, I was born in Waterville, Maine.
Okay.
Do you know Maine at all? Have you ever been there?
I've been, when I was a tour manager, I definitely been through Maine. I can't tell you a lot about Maine, but I've definitely been through
So you've probably been to Portland, Bangor.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I grew up in Waterville, which is like the point right between those two cities. Like each one population. It's a small city. It's not even a small city. It's called a city, but there's probably, I don't know. We should Wikipedia it. I'm going to say 15,000 people. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know how to. Kobe College is there.
Okay.
You heard of Kobe College?
I haven't.
Okay. I thought that was my one in. Like, I thought everybody had heard of Kobe College. It was on The Sopranos.
Okay.
Yeah.
15,000. Okay.
Probably more than that. More or less by maybe 10 or 20,000. I don't know. But yeah, so I grew up in Waterville, Maine, and I went to school at the University of Maine. That was in 2002.
Okay.
That's near Bangor, University of Maine. That's
Okay.
like right up there.
A little bigger population.
A little bigger population. Still not super, super massive. But I studied broadcast journalism because I wanted to study film.
Okay.
But broadcast journalism was the closest thing. So I got to work at the TV station, got to work with cameras, learned.
You want to make films.
Wanted to make movies and TV and all that stuff. That was my
Right.
primary focus. And so broadcast journalism was the closest thing. It allowed me to, use all the equipment, learn the same kind of skill set. All the stuff I learned there, the people I met there, the reason I'm out here now.
Gotcha.
So I think I made the right choice.
So in school, you got to sharpen your skills, your sword, and just learn the lingo, learn everything that you needed to learn about pre and post production. At least from the school perspective.
At least from the school perspective. We, David Nickerson?
Yes.
Yes. I worked with him at the University of Maine.
Ah. Okay.
I worked at him at, it was called the Maine Channel.
Okay.
And that was UMaine's little closed circuit TV station. And he was the president the second year I was there. And so we worked together for about a year and a half, and we just made crazy TV shows, and we just self-taught ourselves like all the Final Cut studio stuff.
Nice. You guys went nuts with the equipment.
Yeah, it was great. It was like a video fraternity. It was just like a bunch of like
Back when Final Cut was supported.
back when that was the main one to use.
Okay. So is that your in LA for Vice, David? Okay.
He's the one. He shepherded me out here basically. Okay. I was working at Trader Joe's in Portland, Maine.
Nice.
For about 5 years.
Nice.
And I was getting really sick and tired of it. And one day someone came out back. I was out back, putting stuff in the freezer, and someone's like, "There's a guy that wants to talk to you." And I was like, I thought for some reason I was like, it's the police. Like, I screwed up. I screwed up, and someone's here to take me away.
I love how that's your first thought.
And it was. I mean, I didn't do anything, but. And I walked out. It was David Nickerson. I haven't seen him in years, and so I was like, "Oh, this is great." He's like, "Yeah, I'm living in L.A. I'm working at Vice." I'm like, "Wow, that's so amazing! Like that's like the coolest job ever." He's like, "Yeah, you should. I'll give you a job." I was like, I'm at work. I'm wearing like my grungy T-shirt, and I'm all tired, and like I'm like, "Okay, yeah, you'll give me a job." He was like, "Come meet me out tonight." I was like, "All right, I'll meet you out." And then,
you thought he was giving you the L.A. spiel?
Yeah, I mean, I was like, "Okay, we'll see. We'll see where that goes." Come move big talk.
You're like, I'm not moving to LA.
But that night he reassured me. And then 3 months later, I had gotten rid of all of my stuff. I packed up 3 suitcases and moved to LA.
That's amazing. So you were like, F this. I'm tired of Trader Joe's. I'm going to take a chance and do what I want to do. And working for Vice is obviously not a bad thing. And coming to LA.
Yeah, exactly. For one, I mean, I get to be in LA where the things I want to do are located. Like if I want to like write and make movies and all that, you have to be here. Obviously,
I agree.
You know,
it's a good place to be.
And coming out here with like a cool job that not only sounds cool but is great because I've learned so much.
Absolutely.
Like I came out thinking like it's like, oh, so they'll hook me up. I'll sit in front of the computer and I'll know what I'm doing. And like I had no idea. Like I learned so much within like the first 6 months that it blows my mind.
I always tell people like, there's school. And then there's hands-on and real work experience where you're like, okay, under the gun, all these people wanting this, and 7 people shooting off at you, and you're like,
like my first 6 months, I was working the night shift, so I saw people for maybe the first 2 hours, and then they would just leave me with like a basket of tasks, and I'd be like, let's see what I can do, and just do my best and guess and check and put out fires if I could, and
so. As far as workflow, I want to talk to you a little bit about workflow.
Yeah, let's get really technical and boring and stuff.
Yes, exactly. So assistant editor, your position now. Coming to Vice over a year plus ago, more than that, right? A year and a half, something like that?
Over a year.
Over a year. Yeah. So for those who don't know what assistant editing is, could you just kind of sum it up in like a nice, cool way for the regular folk?
There's like the editor, the video editor, who sits in front of the computer and chops up the footage and makes the TV show or the movie. And then the assistant editor is the person that ingests the footage into the system, organizes it, gets it ready for the editor. When the editor's done, you kind of prep things for producers to watch it. It's more like the technical side of editing. It's the less creative side, but it's more like...
Right, the don't F up side either.
Yeah. It's like you're the one that you have to pay like close attention to detail, and
so when people,
I don't know how to describe it without it sounding really boring, but I just my job mostly is just to look out for like technical quality, make sure things are going to pass, make sure the network's going to accept it.
Right, so you have to make sure like.
And I'm just like I'm like step one of like a 5-step process of making sure it's going to be okay for broadcast.
So for example, before the editor actually starts editing, you'll get, say, multicam footage.
Right.
Because on a production, for those who don't know, people go out and they'll shoot with more than one camera sometimes. And you will have to sync back up the audio and the footage, label things, maybe sub-clip things, and get it put everything in a way where you can easily find something if the editor wants you to. Right?
Basically, you want to make sure that when the editor sits down that they have nothing on their mind except for telling their story and doing the creative work.
Being creative. Yeah. So they're like, pull up this shot.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're like, okay.
So if they say like, we need a shot of that red house, you'd be like, I know exactly where that is. That kind of deal,
Right. So working with an editor, obviously you eventually want to step to that, like from assistant, jump up to editing your own shows, or you're still?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of my plan. Right. I really like what I'm doing right now. Like I'm really enjoying it, but the more I like work with editors and see what they do and see how they make their choices, the more interested I become.
Right.
With that.
How hard is it to manage, like, say, a 40-minute documentary? Like how much footage, how big is that? Is that like, I'm just like trying to imagine how crazy that is.
Well, the show I'm working on right now is kind of weird because what we're doing is taking stuff that's already aired on our website and repurposing it for television.
Vice Essentials?
Yes. So it gets chopped up and rearranged. So I'm not really working with raw footage as much, but I've seen like the shows that come in, like we do a bunch of shows in the LA office and they'll go out and shoot for 2 weeks every day
Right,
for a
because
40-minute episode.
you've worked on like Vice Does America,
Yeah, Huangs World and
Vice World of Sports, Vice News.
Yeah. So I wasn't necessarily the assistant editor for that. I was like the night assistant that when they had like leftovers during the day, I would kind of help them out and do what I could. I would QC quality check episodes before they got delivered to network.
Right, because you have to
Stuff
make
like
sure
that.
that the footage is like, I guess, essentially good or in
Right.
its right frame rate and
Yeah.
that stuff. What happens if something comes in and it's like not like in good quality, or
Well,
you have to red flag it, or
well, that's what's been happening with Vice Essentials because like when stuff goes to digital, it doesn't have the same quality control as it does for when it goes to television, obviously. So like we're doing the best we can with like the assets and materials they've given
Right.
us. So there's just a lot of like, well, let's see if we can replace this somehow, or like the other guys who are like in my department in the post-production office, they have like different like fixes and ways to kind of rig it up so you don't really notice the issue so much, or there's
right. So
there's different little workarounds and things.
when you say digital, this was originally shot for, say,
Online, so vice.com,
right?
essentially. Yeah.
And is it problematic? This is a question I personally have, to go from, say, a project that was already created maybe a while ago. Let's say, I don't know if it was in Final Cut or Premiere, what platform you guys are using now, but can you bring those projects into were any of these projects cut, like, say, in Final Cut in the past, or is it that you're getting the same project in Premiere?
I know they used to use Final Cut primarily before my time, but everything's pretty much in Premiere now. I've gotten a couple of projects that are in like Final Cut, and I'll have to like can I be like I have to like export like an XML and bring it into Premiere because that's the way to like translate the project into the other program.
Okay.
Kind of.
Yeah. So you bring that project in and you have to kind of readjust it and recut it for today's broadcast standards.
Right.
For the channel, their spec.
Exactly.
And is that, you find that to be challenging, or is it kind of?
It depends on the show. We have some shows that are being cut for the website right now that they're like sending to us at the same time to recut for TV. So that stuff is like really up to snuff, and like it's a lot easier to work with that kind of footage. And then there's stuff that was on the website like 7 years ago that they're like, here, try to find your materials and put that together so you can put it on TV. So that's a little more challenging, obviously.
And that airs on A&E, right? That's kind of the delivery for.
Yeah, Viceland is operated under A&E.
Okay. Because this show is more like educational too, for people that like want to be editors.
Oh,
and
cool.
Stuff like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
So
okay.
to get a little bit of technical is actually kind of cool.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to be too boring.
What kind of like delivery? What's an average delivery spec for, say, a network? Because for like online, you just have to deliver essentially like an H.264, something that's like high quality, that's married to audio.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, usually everything that we deliver for online is usually H.264. I know we do everything in like ProRes is like our typical codec that we cut in.
Okay.
That we deal with when we're editing. And so usually we'll deliver like a high quality like ProRes for ourselves and then turn it to an H.264 to upload to like YouTube and whatever other things that we upload to for the website.
So that versus a broadcast delivery, how much different is that?
You would definitely go straight to like the high quality ProRes and deliver that with like all the audio stems laid out. So like, I mean, yeah, that's where you come in. Like we'll deliver the audio to you and you'll create like 12 channels of audio that A&E or whatever network uses for their different types of broadcasts. So like they want to like have a stereo broadcast, like a 5.1 broadcast, all those different things.
All these different delivery specs.
Right. Am I right for saying that? I mean,
yes.
Kind of.
In your case, I know we deliver multi-mono files.
Yes.
Because that's what the A&E specifically.
And then it's up to the network to use those however they do, and they mix it their way.
Who knows what they want,
Right.
If they're running a mono or a stereo.
I've never been quite sure why they need all of that, but.
But I was saying more of the video is more, say, high quality, higher res than what you're sending to YouTube and that type of stuff.
Definitely. I mean, it's just it's a higher quality codec, and it's just encoded at a higher rate. So it's just going to be a crisper image. Everything is still 1920 by 1080.
Still
like
HD.
Typical HD. Yeah. We're not doing like 4K broadcasts or anything like that.
and you have to be really aware of like being like title safe and colors and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff,
So
right?
like we have an online editor come in, which is kind of like the same thing as like a finishing editor. And what they do is they make sure that everything is broadcast safe in terms of like the blacks can't be too dark, the whites can't be too bright. Make sure everything is title safe so nothing hangs off of the screen when you're watching TV. So like if you see like a lower third of someone's name, it's not like
Cut
Travis
off.
Bourassa and then it's
Right.
cut off by the screen, you know?
So is an online editor more like, is it safe to say they're like a colorist, or is it that's different?
Well, I mean, they can do color work as well. So they'll do like some light color work. They might do some light audio work. They just basically, if we got all of our materials together, we hand it over to him before it goes to broadcast. They kind of put everything together, make sure everything is broadcast safe.
Okay.
And if they find like a graphic is slightly off and they know that it's going to get rejected by the network, they'll do some color work on that.
I got
But
you.
they don't do like the heavy lifting. We have like an on-site colorist that does most of our TV shows.
Okay. There's a lot of rules to TV.
There's
I can just make a movie and just upload it to YouTube, but to
Right.
go to broadcast,
To
it's
go to
like,
broadcast, you have to. There's a lot of technical, really boring stuff that if you ever get a job, you'll learn kind of along the way. That's kind of how I've been going.
and do you think it's those things you could learn in school, or do you think you learn more on the job than you have at the University of Maine?
Well, I think the thing that I really learned at Vice was like how their workflow goes, and that's what I found really fascinating. Because I mean, every place's workflow is probably quite similar, but once you realize just the order of operations that occur within the office and like who you go to for this kind of issue, who you go to for that kind of issue. Once you
Right.
start to get comfortable with that, you don't need to know everything, but you just need to know like how to find the answer to it.
Right. It's
It's a
like
big deal.
more of a hierarchy because there's so many people involved. Right.
Right.
So could you kind of break down like what it takes kind of, well, to be like an assistant editor, but all the other like facets of being in video? Like there's the colorist, there's the editor, there's like, how many different roles can you take? Can you be a part of if you do like graphic design, or if you have to, do you have to know Photoshop? Do you have to know how to do motion graphics, if that's the right, or like Adobe, the
After Effects.
After Effects.
Yeah.
That's the word. Obviously, it's helpful if you know everything,
Right.
but like today's editor or assistant editor, what is it that you have to know to work at, say, a place like Vice?
We do everything in Premiere. So we use like all the Premiere software. So we use After Effects,
Or Creative
obviously
Cloud stuff?
the Creative Cloud stuff, Photoshop, Media Encoder was like the big thing that we used to like translate between different codecs to make sure the footage is in the right spec. And
Oh, okay. So like one's a different codec.
right. So when I was offered the job, I didn't know Premiere at all. So I just did an online tutorial in like a month and just
Nice.
learned it and really, really quickly.
Lynda.com.
It's exactly what I did was lynda.com. And I just learned Premiere like just over a couple of weeks. And then when I walked in, I was like, all right, here we go.
Right.
And I mean, I already knew Photoshop kind of. So if you're an assistant editor, it's good to know everything pretty well because you want to be kind of a jack of all trades. Because if you're trying to deliver something and you see like a graphic is broken, you want to know how to fix it. You don't want to have to run to somebody else to get it fixed.
Can you fix this? Yeah.
Exactly. When it's like, well, all you have to do is nudge it over the side. Like, come on.
Right.
So it's good to, like, I mean, I'm not amazing with Photoshop. I can, crop things and slide them around and do like the basic
Right.
moves, but it's good to have like a working knowledge of all that. And I've learned all that stuff way better now. Like I didn't know After Effects at all.
That's the
And now
like,
I know like 5% of it. So
use After Effects for, say, for like animated lower thirds.
motion graphics and stuff.
motion
Yeah,
graphics.
exactly. So we have a graphics department.
Ah,
And basically what they do is they'll design it, they'll build it, and they'll hand it over to us. They'll give us like a template. And so if we're making like lower thirds and you want to like make Sean McDonald and it like swirls around on the screen, we just have to input the information in After Effects. So basically put in your name and your title
and it does.
and then
that.
export it. And then hopefully as long as the graphics team did it right, it should work fine. So,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
So they handle that heavy lifting. And you just
Right.
kinda-
They do the heavy design. And as long as you have like a working knowledge of After Effects, you can build a template for your show. So
Nice. So at Vice, you guys do a lot of documentary
Yep.
style stuff. I know you said you got into films, do you want to go more documentary or like movie as
I'm more of a
style?
writer
A
than
writer.
anything else. Yeah, yeah. That's
What?
why when I say like, it's like, yeah, I would love to like work up and be like an editor, but that's not where like my main focus is. Like I'm way
Right.
more dedicated to writing.
You don't want to have two screens all day and just kind of like hitting
Oh,
I
I mean,
and O and sliding things all day.
I mean, I do. I love doing that. I really do enjoy editing, and I love working with footage. But it's just it's not my main focus. I feel like if I keep being an assistant editor, eventually I'm gonna have to move up. You know, because it's gonna get
Right.
so boring that I would want to do something else.
Yeah, I think naturally you'll just learn a lot and
Yeah,
over
yeah.
time.
So I find myself kind of like learning more and more about editing, just kind of without really trying to, which is cool. Like it's a really cool. It's really cool to learn a skill without noticing. You know, just because
Yeah.
you do it every day.
What are what makes a good editor, do you think, in your opinion? Like I know story the key theme is telling a good story.
Yeah, it's definitely telling a good story. Organization is really handy too. Like I love working with a really organized editor who knows who makes my job a little bit easier. So I'm not like, picking up the mess after he's done.
Could you give me an example?
Oh, I don't
Like
know.
organized bins or
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you have your little project folder, and you keep the bins organized. You keep things labeled, and so when I go into his or her project later, I don't have to like. It's like, oh, where's that slate? Like, where did he put that? What about? I
right,
don't
it's
know
in a
where it is.
slate
It's in the
bin.
slate bin where I put it originally. That stuff. That stuff's really cool. That makes my job easier. I don't think that makes for a great editor, but
Right. So telling the story.
telling the story obviously is number one. Someone who, I mean, it's really great if you can tell if they care about the subject, which
So
isn't always a luxury that you have.
right. So the editors that sit there, do they actually go out and shoot or they have like a DP?
No, the editors are they're hired for post production specifically.
So they're not involved in the
They're not
actual.
involved in the actual like shooting or the planning or any of that.
Okay.
Usually, like a producer has editors that they've worked with,
Mm,
and they'll bring people on based on their skill level or what the project requires. And it's like, oh, I think this person would be really good for this job,
got you.
and so they'll bring them in for that.
So they're not necessarily like predators. Those are like producer editors all in one. You ever heard that term?
Oh no, I've never heard that.
Yeah. So
Predator.
predator is like a producer that edits at the same. So you go out,
Right.
and kind of like I
I know
produce.
there are some directors that demand that they're able to edit everything that they shoot, and I don't know how often they actually get to do that because I think they go out there with an eye like I know I'm going to cut this into that and that into this,
Right.
and then they come back, they're like, all right, I'm going to do it, and they're like, nah, we got somebody else.
is that do you think that's like a conflict of interest or
Well, I don't know. I think for documentary it can be helpful or a hindrance if you have like a great director who has like a very when you're shooting a documentary, you don't want to have the story in mind too much. You kind of want to go out and shoot and let the story tell itself,
develop
right?
itself?
You want it to
Right.
develop itself. And so if you go in there with kind of like a bias or an idea for the story you want to tell, maybe it's best to hand it to somebody else who has like fresh eyes and can look at the
Right.
footage and see what what the story really is.
Yeah, we do that with mixing sometimes. Like,
No, do you really?
or I'm sure like an artist, right? Like a
Yeah.
musician. Like you want to create your own music, but it's like mixing it might be a little like hand it off and let someone else kind of
Yeah, let
have
someone
some
else
fresh-
listen to it. Someone who always brings some new ideas to it.
Right. Add
Definitely.
some
I
different
think that, yeah,
reverb.
like any kind of art or anything, that's always good.
Nice. Um, so what kind of films are you into and docs? What have you watched lately? What's out there?
What have I watched? I watch a lot of TV.
Me too.
I watch TV. Do you watch TV more than movies now?
I think so because I kind of don't have cable. I just went straight like to internet, like
Yeah.
Netflix
I
and
got-
stuff. So it's easier to like, I just watch like shows.
Yeah,
it's like
same,
season
same.
1, 2, 3, and I just got like a shout out to my friend for giving me her Hulu.
Oh, nice, nice. I have Amazon Prime, and so I just did the HBO subscription free for a month. I did that over a holiday break. I was like,
Did
I'm
you get
gonna
the
need
Fire
something
Stick?
to keep me. I didn't. No, I've got a
Okay.
smart TV.
Oh, okay. There's some special that you sign up for. They were giving out free Fire Sticks and like free
Oh, I should
little
do that.
Apple TV things. So what are you watching right now? What's good?
So I've been watching a lot of HBO. I started watching Lucky Louie. Do you ever watch that? That was Louis C.K.'s sitcom on HBO before he was on FX doing Louis.
Okay, I've worked with FX and I've mixed some of the Louis promos before.
Oh, really? That's
and
awesome.
who's the girl? You're the worst.
Oh,
Louis
that
CK,
show is great. You're the
she's
worst.
awesome.
Yeah.
He produces it with her.
Oh,
it's
does
like
he?
his like really close friend.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
I've mixed some of that stuff too.
Wait, is it Pamela Adlon?
Yes, from California.
She's on that, and she's on Louis, and she's
Yeah.
in Lucky Louie. She plays
Oh, okay.
his wife. Yeah.
Okay. So there's probably some cross thing there. They're like super good friends.
Yeah,
And just
yeah.
work with it. She's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, that show's really
Fucking
funny.
hilarious. Yeah, she is. Any other cool shows?
What else?
You watched The Jinx on HBO?
I did. I watched that when it came out a while ago.
Isn't that awesome?
That blew my
Me
mind.
and my boy, we his name's Ghazi. We always text each other. Shout out to the hoagie because
The hoagie.
he got caught for stealing a hoagie.
That was all like after the fact, right? It was just like
I'm like, but they found like $30,000.
it's just such a weird story.
It's such a weird story. And now he's like, there's this new posting where he says that he was on meth the entire time. That's like his
That
new,
would make sense.
That's
That
his new
would, like,
defense. He's trying to like run with the whole I was on meth the entire time.
He was just so odd. Everything, nothing he did made any sense. So it's
Yeah.
like, how else could you describe his behavior?
We're like, is he gonna get out of this one? I don't know.
I kind of hope so.
I know. I know. Secretly, a part of me is like, he's gonna beat this. I'm already like behind the whole meth thing.
He's like
now.
the Joker, right?
Yeah,
He's like, you
like-
kind of want to see him win.
Dude, that guy is so crazy. Obviously, Game of Thrones on HBO.
I don't watch Game of Thrones yet. I started watching Westworld. Do you
know
like
what?
that?
I slept on. I watched all of Westworld without watching it. I know that sounds
Did
weird.
you put it on every night and fall
Yeah,
asleep to
I was
it?
like-
yeah.
I think
It's a slow one.
And now everyone's like, it's amazing. I'm like, I
Yeah.
have to go back and watch like 12 of these things.
Yeah, I'm only like 3 episodes in, but I'm really digging it so far.
Yeah, Westworld is really good.
Game of Thrones seems daunting. There's so many seasons out now.
I just got to start late.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I feel like that with like Everything's Sunny, that show.
It's always sunny.
It's always like, I
Yeah,
know it's
yeah.
funny,
Right.
but I'm so far behind. I'm
Right.
like, I don't want to do it.
but that's more like episode to episode. You could just watch random
Right,
episodes
and just
throughout
kinda-
and still enjoy it.
What else am I watching right now on Netflix? What's out there, Hugo? That's really bomb.
Oh yeah.
Ah,
Did you watch
was
that?
good. I love that.
Oh, me too.
11? Come on,
awesome.
That's amazing.
Awesome. I loved all the 11 costumes for Halloween this year.
Let's be honest. Who teared up
Great.
when she kind of was getting? I kind of teared up. That was sad. She was sad. It was
Oh,
like
yeah,
this
definitely.
little bald-headed girl with a nosebleed. Like help her. It's like ET. Yeah, we like to do this thing called L or W. I'll explain it to you. So
L or
myself,
W.
Hugo, who's a PA, and Ryan Sack, who's actually working on the pizza show right now.
I know. Yeah, I just talked to him.
Boom,
Yeah.
right? Which our boy delivered. We do this thing called an L, right? Which means a loss, and a W, which stands for a win.
Okay, that's easy.
So,
enough.
and it's really just related to our profession. So it's more to help others avoid pitfalls and things like that. I've have so many L's in audio. I'm gonna give you an example.
Okay, yeah, please.
Okay, so my L as a re-recording audio mixer was one time I was working with an agency. I'm not gonna say the name. David and Goliath. We were working on Kia car tags, and we had a VO guy come, and he recorded like, there's like 5 people in the room, and they all go, hey, that was great. Next one. And we're recording for like 20 minutes. And I hit stop, and I realized I didn't have recording input. I didn't record any of his takes. And
Right.
keep in mind, over 20 minutes, you got people that are like, oh, that was beautiful.
Right,
Yeah, I
right.
like number C. And I'm just like sitting there, and I'm like, the back of my neck is burning up. I'm like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
got to tell 5 people that I did not only did I not record it, but I'm sure this guy's getting paid by the hour. And I'm just like, I'm about to get fired.
Right.
But they were super cool about it at the end of the day. But that's an L. A W would be like, being able to work with Vice, just being able to come on and mix some really cool stuff. Like we mixed, I think 6 of the 8 Huangs Worlds. My introduction to Vice is through Mike Horlock when the office first opened. I like randomly emailed, I think, do you remember? I don't know if you know Liz. Anyway, Liz was a producer at Vice. She's in New York now.
Okay.
And I like randomly emailed her, and she passed. Like, I was like, hey, I don't know you, but I really want to work on some Vice stuff and blah, blah, blah. And
Is that
surprisingly,
how you guys hooked up with Vice? You just like emailed
I-
them randomly?
randomly emailed Liz. She's super cool. Like, we're friends now. I visit her in New York.
Yeah.
I've actually visited your New York Vice office and your London Vice office.
Oh, no way.
Like, took trips and hung out
Yeah.
hung out with the mixers and stuff. John Northcraft. I don't know if you get stuff from him or Dean out there.
I know the name. Yeah, definitely.
So
I know everybody's name from email, and I don't know, like, I know maybe a quarter of their faces.
I'm saying all these people. I'm like, I know your email. So I randomly emailed her. You know, it's like, hey, I really want to work with Vice. I love this stuff, like the magazine and all that.
Yeah.
I was like, when did I just get this reply? Like 3 days later. Cool. Gonna send it to my friend. I'm like, whatever. That same. Come to LA.
Yeah.
I got a job for you. You're like, dude, I kid you, like, Mike hit me up. Super cool.
That's
Came
great.
in, and I used to come to the office, and that's before Eric. So I used to come in, like, they had different freelancers, but I used to come and just mix stuff there, and you know, like.
So before you worked for Kill the Mess, you were just doing.
No, wow, you know, because I like
same
freelanced.
Oh,
a lot.
okay.
Like I worked all around town, and you know, for like Fox or Direct TV and like a bunch of mom and pop spots. So I would come and mix like Fuck That's Delicious and like some Munchie shows and things like that. But yeah, it's really, really cool. So that would be a good W. It's
That's
like,
a W. Okay.
like just randomly winning. So do you have an L that you could share with an assistant editor out there? Like, don't ever do that, mother up.
I had to talk to a director on the phone, and it was someone I don't want to say the name because it makes it so much more embarrassing. But like this host reel came in, which is like they'll put someone on camera to kind of test them, see how they look on camera, talking about a subject or whatever. Okay. And so that footage came in, and I had to cut it. I actually got to cut it myself and get it together.
Okay.
So I was like, cool, I get to edit something. That's great. Like, I'm making creative choices and stuff. This is great. And then one of my bosses comes, and she's like, this was shot by such and such director. And I was like, oh, he's worked on all of these things. She's like, yeah. And so you're going to call him on the phone, and he's going to tell you exactly what you need to do. And I was like, all right, yeah, I can totally do that. And so like, she gives me the number, and I'm talking to this guy on the phone, and he was really nice and everything, but he's just talking so fast, and he's like, this is what you're gonna do. You can't do this because like you can't talk about this thing because I got to deal with such and such. And I'm just like, okay, sir.
Like, he's just firing off.
And so I mean, I guess that was kind of the loss because I was so embarrassed, but I cut it after, and I showed it to my boss. And she was like, you did such a good job. Because she knew I was embarrassed. And she's like, you did such a good job, Travis. And I was like, don't condescend me. But then at the same time, I was like, I like to do a good job. Thank you. So that was a win. That was really cool.
That was a win.
I got to cut something that somebody really important got to watch.
That's
so
awesome.
I thought that was cool. I hope he liked it. I never heard anything about it the next day. So
when you don't hear anything, that's good.
That's good. Yeah, it means I didn't screw it up too bad.
I used to want to hear things. I'm like, not hearing anything is like good news.
Well, that's another thing I learned is that if my boss doesn't give me any feedback, that means I didn't screw anything up too badly.
That's great. Yeah, I'm like, didn't hear it. So we're gonna count that as a W.
Let's count that as a W.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That felt good.
Shoot me an L.
There's definitely working. If you end up working the night shift, which I think every freelance assistant editor ends up doing at some point, because that's when that's such an undesirable shift. And but toward the end of your shift, if there's something really important to do, just leave a note and have them do it in the morning, because you're not doing your best work whatsoever. And if it's something like, I remember it was just such like a weird thing where it's like I had to deliver a piece that came in from New York. I had to like watch it down. I had to encode it and upload it. And so I did. And the next day I come into work and my boss is like, what happened? Like, what'd you do? And like, I missed like 12 of the steps. And there was like all these issues with it that I didn't see it because it was like 2 a.m.
You checked
and
out.
I was so tired. And I was like, oh, I guess it's fine. I'll just upload it. And then, so yeah, just they can handle it in the morning too. Like, it's not a huge deal.
Don't try to do everything.
Don't try to do everything. Yeah. That was my thing. I was like, I need to impress everybody. I need to get everything done. I want to be super busy all the time.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
that can be good.
That's like the attitude. When
it's a good attitude to have, but realize like if you make mistakes, don't beat yourself up over it, because it's a lot to ask yourself. So ask for help.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to make mistakes on that level. Assistant audio, assistant editing, assistant, anything with the word assisting in it. It's
yes, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Don't expect to be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're anybody's assistant, expect to disappoint them at least once.
Yeah.
I'm glad to say that I've screwed up, I think, everything at least once.
I've screwed up everything like 4 times.
Well, that's even better. That's why you're really good at your job.
I'm like, I don't make that mistake anymore.
Right. Yeah.
I've made that a lot of times. But yeah, that's how you learn. You know, it's like I call them beautiful mistakes. Well, some of them are shitty, but
Yeah,
there's
because
some
they hurt. They really sting at the time.
The ones that hurt that are like, I might not have a job. So,
right.
Those are like the crappy ones, but the beautiful ones are like, oh, okay.
It's good. We walk away from this a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. You're good, you know?
So with that, what advice would you give to someone, say, that wants to step into editing? Do they go to school? Do you think like now that's really important to have that formal training, or is it like, hey, go and intern and get in there, get coffee, fucking shoot something?
I mean, it looks good to have a degree, obviously.
Yeah.
But it also looks good to have a really big portfolio of work that you've done that you can show to people.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't have this job without school because I met David Nickerson in school.
Right.
You know, like I met the right people and I got a lot of really good experience. If you go to college and you get like a degree, the thing that I'm glad I did was that I took advantage of the resources outside of class. Because like the University of Maine had a TV channel and I got to go work at it. And so like that's what I learned in school. Everything I learned in class is kind of BS.
Right.
Like it's a
lot of theory, a lot of paper.
Yeah, it's a lot of writing papers and stuff. And that stuff's still really good for you, obviously. But yeah, if you ever go to a college, just use the resources and find out what's available and then use that until you're not allowed to anymore when they graduate you and kick you out.
Yeah.
That's my advice, yeah.
And then
it doesn't have to be expensive film school.
Yeah. Just have to be applicable. Like you have to be able to take that information and translate it. So once you're in the door, what's your advice? You got the job now and you're sitting down and you got this nice computer, this expensive trash can from Mac that they bought. Yeah. You got the subscription to Premiere and
right.
and you got all the toys.
The advice from there, take a lot of notes.
Yeah.
That was my big thing. The first like 5 days, I just filled a notebook with like every instruction and like, cause I when I started doing the night assistant job, they just left me alone. I had one day where the guy I was replacing worked with me that night. And so I kind of shadowed him for the night.
Was he cool?
Oh, he was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. He worked for sports. He worked for Vice World of Sports, Mike Schafferneck.
Okay.
He was awesome. Such a sweetheart.
Okay.
And he taught me everything he could in one night. He did a pretty good job because the next day I felt pretty confident going in there. But then that second night, it was just like, oh, there's a lot of other shit I need to know. Right. And it's just trial by fire. It's like, just do your best. Just do your best and expect to make mistakes and don't worry about it.
So working at a place like Vice, you obviously are like surrounded by such talent and such like amazing
so many
people.
awesome people. Yeah.
So it's like that alone is like, you know,
it was really intimidating.
It's like school in itself.
It is
paid school, but it's like you get to really learn, and real life projects are the way to go. It's like, you know, we were interviewing some kids here. We were trying to get an assistant thing going, and we're like, oh, let's reach out to the schools and help some kids out. And we reached out to like all the schools, the mom and pop schools, LMU, USC, and it's like, you know, a lot of the kids just graduated, but they just didn't have that experience. You know, it's like they needed to touch some stuff, and I'm like, what I thought was a basic function to them is like, well, I had to remember like, yeah, this is just the beginning of your path. And, you know, it's like what I think is normal in TV, you still have to.
Because half of what you do is probably like muscle memory.
Absolutely.
You don't even have to think about it anymore.
And then once you start like finding that relationship between everyone, like, okay, these are normal delivery specs and this is good quality and this is not good. Like, it takes a while to understand that and learn that. But I was fortunate enough to learn through many of people and so many jobs, and one thing that I did was absorb. I took notes. I actually, when I was an assistant, I still have my notebook. So I really relate to that. I used to have
that's awesome.
I used to write down everything. Like, okay, what'd you say? Okay, say that again. Repeat that. Yep. And then once they leave, I try it and be like, I don't get it. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Then you see it again, you do it again, and it's like, oh, how did I not know that? You know, it's just like, it's just so basic in the back of your brain now.
Yeah, I love taking notes, and man, and working with you guys is really cool. You guys do amazing work. So it's good to work with people that do high quality work, and then you finish something together and you're like,
it feels really good when you send that thing finally off to the network and they're like, all right, it's accepted. And you're like, all right.
Because
it's on TV now.
Yeah, they technically have the final like QC say.
Of course, yeah.
Right. So you know, we do all this like creative work, you know, these guys cut, edit, make sure things are legal. We do audio and make sure it's legal. They marry video and audio together, and they go, hey, and they send it off to the network. And
hopefully the network says, good job.
Or if they're not, they send you this little list of like reject.
Right. And that's where my job comes in. I answer those notes. Like they send back this list of like all these technical specs and things that need to be fixed. And that's a big assistant editor kind of job. You go in there and you fix the notes.
Well, could you share with us like what some of those notes might look like?
You talked about things like being like within title safe. Title safe is like the box with like that's around the frame that you have to make sure all of any sort of like text or action happens within that. So like the little edge around the screen,
right?
If you have like text out there or if something important is happening on the very edge of the screen, they're going to be like, no, because it's going to be cut off by some people's TVs.
Right, because they look at it as like there's not just one TV, one size fits all.
Right.
There's different. There's obviously like frame rate issues, color issues,
yep.
dropouts. Those are pretty common. Right.
Dropped frames.
Drop frames.
Yes. That's
or drop missing audio.
Missing audio.
Shame on me.
Oh, you guys are good though.
There's 4 seconds of audio missing. So your job is to essentially go in and start repairing that stuff.
Yeah. And hopefully we've done a good job and caught stuff ahead of time, so that list will be small. And I know our office has been really good about by the time it gets to the network, they're like, all right, you got it. Like,
right.
We have so many just like gates, or what would you call it? Just like just so many stops along the way before it gets to network that
right, like
stuff tends to get
people
caught.
checking, check stops. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there ever a time where it's like, it's just nothing we can do about that?
Yeah.
And essentially it's up to the network to go, well, F it.
If it's something that so sometimes we'll get like archival footage, like some footage from like Getty or whatever, footage of like an old basketball game or news clip or something. And it just won't be good quality because it's from, like 1990.
Right.
And so it'll have dropped frames and it's been transcoded and the frame rate's been changed a bunch of times. By the time it gets to us, it's just garbage.
Yeah.
And so like we'll do everything we can to make it look good, but then eventually you just have to tell the network like, it's all we got. And usually they're okay with it.
I'm like, all right.
They do give you some leeway for stuff like that.
Okay.
Because they don't want to like. I mean, if it boils down to it, it's like, well, this is the only clip we have of Obama saying this. It's the only clip that exists in the world. They're not going to be like, well, you have to change the whole story. Like you can't have that clip now. Like,
right. So they have like levels. Like
yeah.
This is a hard 3, which is the worst.
Right. But if you do that, like 6 times in one episode, they're going to start having problems.
Right. Like you guys need to recut your entire show.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a last resort kind of thing.
Nice. That seems like I guess, I don't know if it's stressful. Can that be stressful at times? Like,
it can be if you look at everything all at once. But if you just look at the task at hand, there's a good piece of advice. Just do it just one thing at a time. Because right now we're like, my team's delivering like 20 something episodes of TV. And it's like, if I try to look at that and all of the work and the paperwork involved, I'm just like,
your hair will explode.
I'm just going to stay home today. Like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Instead, it's just my producer will give me like 2 or 3 things that need to get done today. And I'm like, all right, I'll just focus on those things and get them done.
And then put out the next fire.
And then put out the next fire tomorrow.
That's some good advice. There's so much involved with television. I think that, a lot of people don't know, like so many little steps along the way.
Yeah. And anytime you watch something on TV and you're like, oh, why'd they do that? It's like, there's probably a lot of reasons why they did that. And none of them were because they chose to.
Right. Sometimes I'm like,
there's just so many like.
That shot looked grainy.
Yeah. You make like sacrifices and you have to like meet in the middle for a lot of different things. There's just a lot of things. It's surprising that TV's ever gets made.
Right. And now it's, it's weird. Like we have such a high standard for broadcast, but I mostly watch like internet stuff,
Yeah.
It's like, I'm like, yeah, of course anything that you make, you want to put your best foot forward. But I thought in my mind, I was like, broadcast is going to go away. Like there was this moment I was like, it's all going to be about like online because I watch everything on my like phone or my computer. I'm going to watch a movie on that later.
Right.
But, we still deliver high quality television.
But I mean, you could still say like if you delivered something to Netflix or Amazon original series or whatever, you'd still say you're still delivering for broadcast, So I think like the same quality, it's still the same input, quality control, the same input. Yeah. So it's not like the craft would disappear.
Right.
I think,
I guess a lot of that is made from the higher quality stuff. It's just like down converted or
people are still going to want to watch stuff on big TVs, It's nice to have a phone so you can watch it on the bus or something, but You want to lay in bed at night and watch your TV when you go to bed, you know?
Definitely a movie theater.
Well, that's the best.
I still love the theater.
What was the last movie you saw?
Fences, Denzel Washington. Go see it.
Was it great?
Tearjerker, Hidden Figures, tearjerker.
Oh, I want to see that. That looks great.
La La Land.
I loved that.
Amazing.
That was beautiful.
I was like, and usually when it comes to like musicals, I'm like, oh.
Same. I think everyone's saying that. Everyone who doesn't like musicals is like, yeah, this is good though.
But La La Land was amazing.
Yeah.
And then I saw The King and I, the play, at the Pantages Theater.
How was that?
Very long, but surprisingly, I loved it. And it was the night of Ronda Rousey's fight. So I'm a real big like MMA fan. And I
yeah.
Like I did some of you guys' Fightland stuff. I love that stuff.
Cool.
And it was like a big fight. And we work on like a lot of the interstitial pieces here. But The King and I was about 4 hours long. It's like the length of, it was like watching two movies back to back.
I've never seen like a Broadway musical before.
That was my first. And
was
it
that
amazing? And
that's cool.
It's totally like surreal and cool to see people acting live and not missing a beat. I was like, this is amazing. I would have choked. And it's like these little kids are super talented, and
that's awesome.
It was really cool. But I really enjoyed La La Land. That was a really good.
I don't like musicals, but then like in the third act, I was like, it's been a while since they did a song. When are they gonna do a song?
Right. Like, they do a song, and you're kind of like, I'm not too mad at it.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
they're doing a decent job, and it was a twist. It didn't end the way I thought it was gonna end. I was like, okay.
No,
I love when movies have like
good and bittersweet.
They're not predictable. I was like, they're gonna have 9 kids, and
right.
I'm sorry if I'm ruining it for someone. Hugo, did you see it?
No, not yet.
I just ruined it for you. They had 17 kids, and they stayed together.
And they all sing. They become a chorus.
Yeah, they all.
For that show you went to watch?
Yeah.
That's 17 kids, and they put on a production of King and I.
Nice, man. Well, dude, it's so awesome that you took the time.
Oh, absolutely. This is really fun.
Assistant editors are busy. I know you're off the night shift, but it's still a busy thing, and it's cool. And I always wanted to. This is a great way to finally meet you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not finished. We have this thing that we do.
Oh, there's more show.
There's more show.
Okay, good, because I haven't finished my water yet.
Yeah, all right. So we do this thing called, I guess I was calling it karaoke. That's not the right way to call it. It's called
I'll sing.
It's more like finish that tune.
That's what you're asking. I'll sing.
So no one has made it to 3 songs yet. The goal is my boy Hugo here is going to play you some songs. And when he hits stop, you have to finish the lyrics.
Oh,
all right?
Geez.
And it's
so
no pressure, but once you came in, I told Sean, I'm like, I think he's got it.
Okay. No one's made it to 3 yet. So remember, this is episode number 5. And then we're going to start posting these soon.
Okay.
So no pressure.
Though there's so much pressure now. I feel like I didn't get uncomfortable till now.
All right. It's a cool way. Hold on.
Yeah, just volume on.
Okay. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna sip water because I'm nervous now. And I'm not even doing this.
So wait, like, do I know like any like genre, or is this just like any song, any era, any?
Is it popular?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're technically popular depending on the genre.
Okay.
So I think you got them.
At least one. I think he's got one.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
That was the first one. I know you know this one.
Uh-oh. He's got this.
I'm feeling it.
Man.
She took the midnight train going anywhere.
Yeah.
Did I have to sing it or do it?
That was perfect.
Okay.
That was perfect.
Because if I feel like I just had to say it, no, I'm just
That was us. And you were in key.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what key that, but he was in some.
I was in a key.
Oh, I think you're right. I think he's gonna get it.
I'm telling you.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, that was 1 of 3.
And this is the next one. Here goes.
I'm nervous.
Now this looks like a job for me. That's all I know, but that's it. That's the only.
Okay, actually,
was that the next lyric?
I think that was the next lyric. He didn't get it fully.
Yeah.
But he did not fully not get it. But let's play.
You did get it.
controversy because it feels so empty without. Yeah.
Should we go to the third one?
I think so.
Alright.
I think
Oh, so you would have cut me off if I didn't get it at all? That would have been the end.
that
of
would
it?
have been the end of it.
Okay, so I get to
But-
move to the third round. That's
Yeah,
good.
there's the
You
last
could be
one.
the first person to make it to 3 songs.
Wow.
And then we have to step it up. Now we got to like change it to 5 songs. Because it's like he made it to 3.
All right.
All right, you ready? Here it goes. This is the next
Wait.
one.
Okay. You want a sip of water?
Oh.
Oh!
I don't think he. Did he get that one?
I heard it.
Damn.
I might not know the lyric. I'm not super.
Okay.
You know what? No, go ahead. Go.
Ready?
Yeah.
Here he goes.
Knows what is good for him. That's all. That's it. That's all I got. I was so nervous you were gonna cut it off earlier because I had no idea what those words were. Like,
I'm on the same boat. It's hard because like you're getting like half the phrasing. But,
yeah, because
but
I only
which
know
is-
a couple of the words, like
Okay.
the ones that stick out, unfortunately.
Let's give them like, what do we call it? Like
Is this like a bonus round or
it's
something?
like a bonus, like, yeah, like a death round. I don't want to use the word death. Let's give them the death round.
Okay, cool.
Good job, man.
Oh, thank you.
Hey.
So you think he'll get this one? Let me see. Which one? You pick. Which one?
The first one.
This one? All right.
Oh, he's got
And you pick where you
He's
want
got
to
that.
start.
Again, it depends on where
Travis
you leave
Bourassa,
off.
ladies and gentlemen. He already knows. He's like the biggest Outkast fan.
Oh, is this who this?
And
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to. Oh, we're done? We're gonna keep going?
Keep going. Dude, you are the
Cut me
first.
off?
You are
Oh, man.
officially the first.
I told
Oh,
you.
feels good.
I can see
You-
it. I can see it.
Not
Thank
only
you.
did he come in and enlighten
Good
us,
choices.
folks, but he actually just changed the rules because now we have to go to 5 songs.
5 songs, yeah.
Dude, you're like a trendsetter.
What other songs have you played?
Oh, we played Good Morning. No. What,
Queen.
Queen. We played Kanye. Stronger. We played. The
Oh, I would have just like jammed
The
out on
Weeknd.
Stronger. I
Yeah,
wouldn't have
someone
stopped.
actually
I
got
would
all-
have just like.
John got all his stronger.
Yeah.
We've done
I would
like,
have closed the shot down.
we got to do Star. I'm a Star Boy.
I'm a Star Boy,
That's
yeah.
the bomb.
That's the new one, right?
Yeah, I love
I
that
heard that.
record.
That's a good song.
That's a yeah.
I'm not like into the Weekend or anything, but that was cool. It's like
I
pretty
am.
rocky.
All he talks
stuff, yeah.
about is like cocaine. It's just weird.
Is that
But
it?
that's his whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sign off, but Travis Bourassa, I think I said that right again.
You
or
did.
wrong.
Perfect.
Super cool guy. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
for
man. Thank you so much for
spending
having me in
time
here.
with Kill the Messenger on our Kill the Messenger podcast.
It was great to finally meet you.
Yeah, we plan on getting some more of you fine folk over at Vice Over.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Take it easy, man.
All right, brother. Woo! Dude, you changed the game. We have to fucking step it up.